Welcome back to part 2. In the first video, we covered what LangChain is and the 6 core building blocks. Now it's time to get our hands dirty and build a real application from scratch. Today, we're building a complete AI-powered document Q&A system, the kind of application companies are paying thousands of dollars for, and we'll build it together, step by step, using all 6 building blocks we learned about. By the end of this video, you'll have a fully functional application that can answer questions about any PDF document you upload. So, let's dive in. First, let me show you what we're building. We're creating an AI document assistant that can read PDF files and answer questions about them intelligently. Here's how it works. You upload a PDF, let's say a research paper, a company policy document, or even a textbook chapter. You can then ask questions like, what are the main findings? Or summarize section 3. And the AI gives you accurate answers based on the document content. Now, let's look at the architecture. We'll be using all 6 building blocks. First, we'll use a retriever to search through the document. We'll set up memory to maintain conversation context. We'll create custom prompts for better responses. We'll chain everything together with chains. We'll use an LLM as our brain, either OpenAI or any other provider. And we might even add some tools for extra functionality. Don't worry if this seems complex. We'll build it piece by piece. Before we start coding, let's get our environment ready. You'll need Python 3.8 or higher installed on your system. Open your terminal and install LangChain and its dependencies. We'll need the core LangChain library, OpenAI for our LLM, PyPDF for reading PDFs, Chroma as our vector database, and tick token for counting tokens. Run this pip install command and you're good to go. This might take a minute or two. Next, you'll need an OpenAI API key. Head to platform.openai.com, create an account if you haven't already, and generate an API key from the API Keys section. Important: never hard-code your API key in your script. Instead, create a .env file in your project directory and store it there. We'll use the python.env library to load it securely. And please, never commit your .env file to GitHub. Add it to your @gitignore immediately. All right, let's start coding. Step 1 is loading our PDF document. First, we import the PyPDF loader from LangChain. This is a specialized document loader that can extract text from PDF files while preserving structure. Here's how it works. We create a loader instance with the path to our PDF. Then we call the load method, which returns a list of document objects, one for each page of the PDF. Each document object has 2 main attributes: page content, which contains the actual text, and metadata, which includes information like page number and source file. Let's test this with a sample PDF. I'm using a research paper here. When we print the first document, you can see it extracted the text from page 1, along with metadata showing this is page 0. Python uses zero-based indexing. This is the foundation of our application. Everything starts with getting the text out of the PDF and into a format LangChain can work with. Step 2 is text splitting, and this is crucial for good performance. Here's why we need this. LLMs have token limits. You can't just dump a 100-page document into GPT-4 and expect it to process everything. Even if you could, the quality would suffer. LLMs work better with focused, relevant chunks of information. So we split the document into smaller chunks. But we don't just randomly chop it up. We use a recursive character splitter that tries to split on natural boundaries: paragraphs, sentences, words, in that order. Look at these parameters. Chunk size of 1,000 means each chunk will be roughly 1,000 characters. Chunk overlap of 200 means consecutive chunks will share 200 characters. The overlap is important. It ensures that context isn't lost at chunk boundaries. If a concept spans 2 chunks, the overlap helps maintain continuity. When we split our 5-page document, we get about 15 to 20 chunks, depending on content density. Each chunk is now a manageable size for our LLM to process. Step 3 is where the magic happens, creating embeddings and storing them in a vector database. This is the heart of RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation. Let me explain what embeddings are. An embedding is a numerical representation of text. Think of it as converting words into coordinates in a high-dimensional space, usually 1,536 dimensions for OpenAI's embeddings. Imagine plotting words on a graph. Words with similar meanings end up close together. Dog and puppy would be near each other. Dog and spaceship would be far apart. Embeddings do this, but in 1,536 dimensions instead of 2. Here's the workflow. We take each text chunk, convert it to an embedding using OpenAI's embedding model, and store these embeddings in a vector database. We're using Chroma, which is fast and runs locally. The code is surprisingly simple. We create an OpenAI embeddings instance, then use chroma.fromDocuments to handle everything, creating embeddings for all our chunks and storing them in the database. This line right here is doing a lot of heavy work. It's calling OpenAI's API for each chunk to get embeddings, then indexing them in Chroma. For 20 chunks, this takes just a few seconds. Now comes the cool part, similarity search. We query the vector store with a question and it finds the most relevant chunks. Watch this. We ask, what is the main conclusion? And the vector store returns the 3 most similar chunks, usually from the conclusion section of the paper. It found these by comparing the embedding of our question with all chunk embeddings and ranking by similarity. This is how we give the LLM relevant context without sending the entire document. Step 4 is setting up our language model. This is straightforward but important. We're using Chat OpenAI with GPT-4. The temperature parameter controls randomness. 0 means very focused and deterministic. 1 means more creative. For a Q&A system, we want accuracy, so we set it to 0. We're also setting max tokens to control the response length. For documents, we want detailed answers, so 500 tokens is reasonable. Remember, LangChain's beauty is provider independence. If you wanted to use Anthropic's Claude or even a local llama model, you'd just swap this line. The rest of your code stays the same. Step 5 is crafting the perfect prompt. This determines how our AI assistant behaves. We create a prompt template that gives the LLM clear instructions. Look at the structure here. First, we tell it to act as a helpful assistant. Then we provide the context. These are the relevant document chunks. We explicitly tell it to answer based on the context. And finally, we include the user's question. Here's a pro tip. The way you structure your prompt massively impacts quality. We're being very explicit here. Notice we say, if the answer is not in the context, say so. This prevents hallucinations when the AI makes up information. We also ask it to cite which part of the context supports the answer. Let's see the formatted prompt. When a user asks a question, the template fills in the context and question variables. The LLM sees this complete prompt and generates an answer. Step 6, we bring it all together with a retrieval QA chain. Here's what this chain does automatically. When a question comes in, it queries the vector store for relevant chunks. It takes those chunks and formats them into the prompt. It sends the prompts to the LLM. It returns the LLM's response. All of this happens in one function call. That's the power of chains. The code is clean. We use retrieval-QA.fromChainType with our LLM and retriever. The chain type stuff means we're stuffing all retrieved documents into a single prompt. We pass our custom prompt and set return source documents to true. This way we can see which chunks were used to answer each question. Great for debugging and transparency. Let's test it. We ask, what is the main argument of this paper? And boom, we get a comprehensive answer citing specific parts of the document. And look, we also get the source documents. We can verify the AI's answer against the actual text. This is production quality already. Step 7 takes us from a one-shot Q&A system to a real conversational assistant. We're adding memory. Here's the problem. Right now, if you ask a follow-up question like, can you explain that in simpler terms? The system has no idea what that refers to. Each question is isolated. That's not how conversations work. We need context. The solution is conversational buffer memory. This stores the entire conversation history and includes it in each subsequent prompt. We switch from retrieval QA to conversational retrieval chain. This chain is specifically designed for multi-turn conversations. We create a conversational buffer memory with the right memory keys. Then we pass it to our chain. Now every interaction includes the full conversation history. Watch this in action. First question, what is the methodology? The AI explains the research methodology. Second question, what are the limitations of that approach? And it knows that approach refers to the methodology from the previous question. Now we have a chatbot that can maintain context across multiple turns. Game changer. Step 8 is optional but powerful, adding tools to make our assistant even more capable. Right now, our assistant can only answer questions about the document, but what if we wanted it to also calculate statistics, search the web for related information, or save important quotes? That's where tools come in. Let's add a simple calculator tool. We define a function that evaluates math expressions. Then we wrap it in a tool object with a clear description. Now, we need to upgrade from a chain to an agent. An agent can decide which tool to use based on the question. We create an agent with our tools and memory. The agent type conversational React description means it can have conversations and use tools based on their descriptions. Let's test it. We ask, the study had 500 participants in Group A and 750 in Group B. What percentage is Group A? The agent recognizes this needs calculation, uses the calculator tool to compute 500 over 500 plus 750 times 100, and gives us the answer, 40%. It's seamlessly integrated document Q&A with calculation. All right, let's put it all together. Here's the complete application from start to finish. We start with imports, all the components we need. Then we load environment variables for the API key. We initialize our LLM and embeddings. Next, we load and process the document, loading the PDF, splitting it into chunks, creating embeddings, and storing in the vector database. Then we set up our conversational chain with memory and our custom prompt. And finally, we create a simple interaction loop where users can ask questions. When we run this, we get an interactive terminal where we can chat with our document, type a question, get an answer, ask follow-ups, and it remembers context. And that's it, a production-ready document Q&A system in about 80 lines of code.